You are a divine being. You matter. You count. You come from realms of unimaginable power and light, and you will return to those realms. You will return.
Hey guys, welcome to the General Future Podcast. This is Dave. This is episode number 5. Happy New Year to all you guys. It's been about a week, and already we've had kind of a crazy year so far. 2024 off with a bang. I'm not sure if you've heard about this, but on New Year's Day in Miami, there was a story going around on the internet about a huge police presence that showed up at Bayside Mall in Miami. And interestingly enough, people were saying the reason for the police presence was aliens. One of the things that really caught my eye about this story in particular is that, number one, there was a gigantic police presence. Let me see if I can find a video of what this looks like. Okay, yeah, here's one on Instagram. And yeah, for something they claim that was a bunch of teenagers that were causing ruckus in a mall, this police presence seems a little bit outrageous. I know it's looping, but the shot of all the cop cars that are lined up, not here, but right here. I'm going to turn that sound off, but yeah, kind of an insane police presence for, just a bunch of kids causing trouble. And yeah, some of the quote unquote details that have come out is that apparently there were some beings or aliens, whatever you want to call them, things that are not human, were walking around the mall, freaked people out. And again, another odd thing about this is that this being the, us being in the age that we're in, you would expect that there would be video of some sort, one way or another, to either confirm or debunk what happened that caused a police presence like this to pop up. There were some, real fuzzy videos of what people claim to be the 7 to 10 foot aliens walking around. But I did find this video from, apparently this guy's a witness that talks about the Bayside Mall incident.
My name is Fitz. I was there at the Bayside Mall with my family, and we all saw exactly what happened. Don't pay attention to a lot of the videos that are out there. I feel like a lot of people are trying to use this for clout. But what happened, we all saw what happened, and it's pretty serious. It's been a few days, and our whole family's processing it, but I think we've kind of accepted that we were a part of this weird experience and moment. So basically what happened was I was there with my brother Brian, and my sister and my nephew. We were looking for shoes for my nephew, and then we see a whole crowd of people outside the store, just running out in a direction. So as soon as we saw it, we were like, oh shit, what's going on? So we immediately ran out with our nephew, and we picked him up and we ran out and we followed the crowd.
And yeah, so far that tracks. Regardless of what's going on, if you see a large crowd of people, in a mall panicking and running, you're gonna notice it and you're gonna start running with them.
And then about a few seconds later, as soon as we started running, my nephew, he's autistic, so he was pointing behind us and he was saying blankie, which he'll usually say whenever he feels unsafe or scared. and he was pointing behind us. So me and my brother, we look behind us, and then we see these 3 9-10 foot tall creatures. I'm not gonna say aliens. Everyone keeps saying it's aliens. I'm not saying aliens because I don't know what it was. None of us really knew. Everyone, all of us stopped in our track. We, a whole bunch of people were pointing at it. There were other people running. There was a crowd. As soon as it made itself more apparent, it looked like it was glitching, not like a computer pixelation, but like a wavy glitch. And whatever maybe was covering them had, unveiled or whatever. It looked like a glitch, man. It like a weird glitch in the Matrix or whatever. And then you could see it in its full form, all 3 of them. And then, they were all black. You saw eyes, and you could faintly see like lips. But, I was about like 20 feet away. Because obviously everybody gave it distance, right? And, they're tall. So we all just like looked at them. They were just standing there. And the thing that was a little bit weird, well, it was clearly like observing us. It was sentient, right? Like, or whatever. I don't know, but, it was aware of us. It looked at us, the whole crowd. And then as soon as it started walking with its big legs, like kind of like it started like almost glitching again, we all ran. My brother like immediately said, yo, let's go. He grabbed me by the shoulder. We bolted out of there. And for anyone that's like saying, where's the footage? Yeah, I know. I don't have any footage, and I'll explain why. Cause like when I saw it, I was in complete fear. It was something that I completely froze, man. I don't care if I sound like a bitch about it. Like, I froze. And I don't care who you are. I feel like when you're seeing something paranormal, it's different than when you're seeing a fight. Yeah, you'll probably want to record that and put it on WorldStar or whatever. When you see something paranormal, that's different. Because your reality, you can't comprehend what you're seeing. A fight, you kind of get it. 2 people are fighting. You can comprehend that. Something like this, none of us could comprehend. Your first instinct is like, it ain't to like take out your phone and start recording. Your first instinct is like, I've never seen this before. What is this? Is it gonna hurt me or my family? That was my first number 1 priority. So if you don't believe me, I get it. It's fine. Like, it is silly. I'm sure that someone had footage from that night. If you did, please contact me just so like, we actually have it. So anyways, as soon as the creature started moving, we all just jetted out there. We ran out the front doors. And obviously like we see a whole sea of cop cars, mad cop cars, where other ones were coming in. And we ran with our nephew, and then, a cop stopped us. They took us to a bit of a safer area behind the cars. And they asked us what we saw. And we told them what we saw. They wrote it down, and they asked everybody to check their phones. Not everybody, because there was mad people like running away too, right? They couldn't get everyone. So I'm wondering if someone's gonna post a video. But yeah, they looked through everyone's phone. I didn't record anything, so I was fine. None of us recorded anything.
That's pretty crazy. Why were the cops looking through everyone's phones?
Basically free to go. But in the distance, you could still see like, I didn't see the beings come out the door, right? But you could see on the side of the building, kind of like that clip that everyone's seeing, that it was slowly walking, and it was like, it wasn't cloaking or glitching or whatever. It was walking. So I don't know if it seemed more like it was an interdimensional thing. Someone's coming into our dimension or whatever.
And yeah, let's unpack that a little bit. First off, I want to say that I believe this guy, the way that he's delivering the information, and the way that he's recalling the incident and describing what happened. It feels as though he's telling the truth or attempting to recount his memories to the best of his ability. I don't know. I'm really curious about what actually happened there. The reason for the curiosity is because the official story of the fact that there were some teenagers that were that were throwing fireworks, and I think I read somewhere that, you know, the teens had knives and they were like attacking people. I'm not sure if I buy that either. The police presence that we saw in the video was way too high for it to be just for a group of teens. If it was a group of teens causing ruckus, I'm surprised we didn't see any video clips of that happening. And the fact that, again, with something that caused that kind of a response from the authorities, that we don't have any other video outside of the video from the outside of all the cop cars pulling up. I don't know. Doesn't really add up. But, this, and along with the fact that this is an election year, all the tragedy that's happening in Palestine right now, the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, the Epstein list. I know I sound like just a crazy conspiracy guy, but the reason I bring up all those things is because I feel as though 2024 might get pretty weird. And I think it's really important for us as individuals to think more deeply about, how it is that we approach this and what it is that we're thinking about, and how, the decisions that we're making and how it is that we're operating as stuff goes crazy. A lot of the information that we have out there and the information that we are constantly absorbing through social media and the news, the internet, TV, radio, whatever. This information, it's my belief that it's more entertaining than it is necessary. And, this brings me to my next point, or, my next topic, which is, like science and knowledge. How important is it? And what's my take on the role it plays in my life? I am so if you guys have heard of meetup.com, it's a website where groups get together and they can plan meetups for people to gather and meet. And one of the groups that I'm a part of, it's called Coffee and Conversations in Naperville. It's hosted by Tom Schmidt, who is I believe he's a pastor at a church in Naperville. But it's a group of people that get together and they talk about different topics. So, for example, some previous topics that were discussed were, past events. Past events are, what is the purpose of life? Future discussion. Where is the world and human race headed? Ought discussion. Moral obligation. Why should I do anything? Things like that. And, it's a fun group. The people there are very nice. The coffee shop that we meet at is very fun. It's a nice little coffee shop in downtown Naperville by where the Nichols Library used to be. But the topic that we had covered in this past weekend was science and knowledge. What can science tell us about reality? And the last question that was asked at that meetup was, let me see if I can pull that up. Pull it up. Okay. What role does science play in addressing life's ultimate questions, such as the existence of God, meaning of life, afterlife, and how does that affect my own personal worldview? And I think, a few years back, I probably would have told you that science is the is the thing that is driving humanity forward, and it's required of us. And it would be a sin for us to not pursue science and the pursuit of knowledge of, more about what our world is, how it works. Thinking of that as the purpose of human life, to discover things about our world. But the older I get and the more, I guess, spiritual I get in the way that I think and the way that I prioritize my thoughts, I no longer have that worldview. I think science is valuable. It has allowed us to live with great comfort. And, we live with technology and a level of, like the food that we're able to eat every day. We would not have as much food available if science had not been applied to make growing and keeping food fresh easier for us and the rest of the world. But in terms of science's role in determining, what's important or what it is that we should be focusing on, ultimately, I feel like that's an individual matter. And again, going back to, as the world turns, or especially nowadays, as it seems, as the world seems to be falling apart, I'm not sure that knowing more is going to help solve any of those problems. I was having a discussion with my wife the other day, and, just talking about the state of things and how everything seems to be falling apart. And I don't necessarily think that, the conflict and the some of the troubles that we're seeing indicate the end of the world or humanity. If anything, I feel like it is signaling the end of one way of life. The way of life that we've really been grown accustomed to, specifically, like in the 20th and into the 21st century. And where what is right and what is important used to be determined at a much more like a centralized model, where big companies, countries, and large, powerful groups, they played their role as far as being able to rally resources and eyeballs and attention to the things that helped get us to the point that we're at now. But I firmly believe that the next step or the next stage that we're going to be going through as a species, as humanity, is going to be a little bit more dispersed, where the individual is going to have more power to determine what it is that they focus on, what it is that they pay attention to, and how it is that they want to spend their time. A lot of the friction and the struggle that we feel today, it's my belief that it's as a result of power being taken from the centralized forces, governments, corporations, and being and that power being taken back by the individuals and smaller groups of people. One example that I can think of off the top of my head is the country of Korea. I'm Korean. My parents were born in Korea. We immigrated to the States when I was 5 years old. And in that time, in the 35 years since we've left the country, and let's just start from when the Korean War ended in 1953. From that point till now, in 2024, Korea's undergone a massive transformation, thanks to, technology and the business acumen of the people that were running the chaebols, the giant corporations that effectively run the country of Korea. These are the Samsungs, the LGs, who else? the CJs. I'm sure there are others that I'm forgetting. Hyundai, that's another one. And while Korea was getting established on the global stage as the superpower that it is now, these corporations and the entire country rallying behind these corporations made it possible for Korea to get to the point that it's sitting at now. If you're not breathing, if you haven't heard of K-pop, and if you haven't heard of Korean food. When I was growing up, I was the Korean kid who brought a Korean lunch, or his mom packed him a Korean food lunch, and all my friends at school in America made fun of me, and I would beg my mom to please pack me peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. But that's no longer the case. You see TikTok videos of white kids packing kimbap for lunch. They sell kimbap at Trader Joe's. It's everywhere. The country of Korea no longer has to fight for recognition. And what I feel is happening in Korea is so many people, so much of the power, the influence is held by these, this small group of individuals that are running these companies that, effective, that are employing a lot of people. But what it's doing is it feels like it's sucking the life out of the people of the country. The country is no longer for the people. It's instead, it rallies around just making sure that these companies, these corporations can continue to succeed on the global scale, or on the global stage. And I feel like that type of relationship, the balance of power, is about to change. And as that changes, there's going to be a lot of pain, because nobody likes to relinquish power. And I have friends, I'm sure there are people out there that are thinking of these massive corporations and calling them evil and saying, fuck them, they should be destroyed. But I feel like a more productive mindset to have as an individual or as a group toward these companies, these corporations, even, governments, it really is to take a step back and appreciate them for what they've done. But it has to start with that appreciation first. Otherwise, you risk throwing the baby out with the bathwater, where it requires a lot of destruction and violence in order to take the power away, instead of the power being effectively being transferred more organically through consumer behavior, through the way that people are deciding to fuel their lives in terms of where people are, where it is that people are looking for, are looking to for, to buy things, to get services done, etc. And, this is happening in the religion space too. The spiritual space. If you're into spirituality at all, that the internet is absolutely full of individuals talking about their spiritual journeys that aren't necessarily aligned to any specific religion, any of the old school Abrahamic religions that we're more familiar with here in the West. And, it's the same deal there. I think the church, specifically, I'm going to speak about the Christian church because that's what I grew up in and that's the one I'm most familiar with, but I'm sure it can be applied to other religions as well. But the ability of the church to tell the story of Jesus, have it be told in a way that the everyman and their families could understand it and be taught to live according to the morals that were taught in this book. That was an important thing that needed to happen in order for us to get to where we're at now, where people more or less, at least in America, have a an unspoken understanding of what is determined to be right or wrong. And, you know, we'd be fooling ourselves if we said that there weren't a lot of Christian values baked into the way that our culture operates today. But that being said, we, in Christianity and specifically, I've got a bone to pick with, in that they are gatekeeping the relationship with God, or like the relationship with the source. And by gatekeeping it, they effectively are able to maintain, or they're trying to maintain the power that they currently have by gatekeeping this information, or by gatekeeping the role of middleman between man and source, by saying that this is the only way that you're able to connect with the source. And I don't think that's true. And I think this is a big shift that's happening right now all over the world. And what do I mean by that? So there was a song that I came across on Instagram the other day. Let me see if I can find that and play for you guys. The message of it, and the fact that it's being sung by a pretty young girl who, from the looks of her, she does not look like someone that would need to have this understanding of what life really is like or about. So let me cut to my Instagram story. I think I posted it there. And it has expired. Let me see if I can find it again. Archive. And yeah, her name is Juliet Ivy, and this is the song. Let me start it
is very
Damn, I love that song. But the thing I love so much about it is this widespread, this growing acceptance of death that's happening all across the world. Again, I'm speaking out of turn here. Probably just more so in America. And this, you know, this relationship that we have with death as individuals is very important because, you know, it's my belief that it's like Marcus Aurelius said in Meditations, as far as Stoicism goes, it's been around forever, but it's just more mainstream now, where once you're able to accept the fact that you're going to die, and you're able to not live in fear of it, but rather be more alive because of it. That's a very powerful shift in perspective that I think enables people to be more truly themselves and to live life according to their own beliefs and their own interests, as opposed to the crazy money-driven consumerist mindset that we're used to. So many of the things that we buy, so many things that we do, or that we have bought and we've done in the past, we're all keyed and based off of trying to delay death as strongly as possible, or for as long as possible, by any means possible. And money really has the ability to make you feel as though you have some real power and some real say in how and when it is that you die. And at the very root of it, this is probably the reason why capitalism tastes so shitty for so many people, is because, while I agree with the concept and the idea that people should be allowed to go out, build up their capital, and then, eventually own the means of production for whatever it is that they're interested in producing. I feel like even that, when Adam Smith was writing Wealth of Nations, like he was writing that from his perspective on why that's important, I feel like was a little bit short-sighted and not necessarily taking into consideration a very philosophical or spiritual view of, what life is about. And, we've come so far since the local cultures developed their own religions, developed their own ways of operating their economies. Yet we carry those ghosts of how things were done, and we carry them forward into 2024 as though they are things that are supposed to be done this way. And I think we're getting past that. I think we are quickly and rapidly approaching the point where enough people are wise to the fact that we're going to die. All we have is the current moment and our ability to decide what it is that we do with this current moment based on what it is that we want to do. As more people adopt this this mindset, one thing that I see coming is the potential for a new way of life for humanity, one that isn't based on just trying to extend life for the sake of extending life. Modern medicine today. I was talking to a neighbor of mine that I met randomly on a walk, and one of the first words out of his mouth was, I asked him what he was listening to. I heard him listening to a YouTube video out loud without headphones on while we were walking. And he was telling me that he was watching a video on like holistic health because he doesn't trust the medical industrial complex that exists today. The profit motive outweighs the human side of things, in his perspective. So he doesn't trust, doctors, insurance, the way that they are today. I don't feel like we are too far off from living in a better world. And again, just like I talked about in the last episode, I've got hope that things will change for the better. I know all we see in the news is stories about war, stories about pedophilia, about politicians being shitty. But those are things that are just happening in the world. Those are just things that are. That's just how things are. But that does not impact our ability to desire and want and hope to do the right thing, and the right thing that is right according to our own personal beliefs and, what we feel in our hearts. Yeah, it's coming. Yeah, I don't really have too much more to say today. If I did tell my my meetup group about the fact that I have a podcast, so yeah, if you guys are listening to this, thanks for listening. Yeah, first episode of 2024, or I guess the second one. The first one came out a couple days after the new year, but yeah, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we'll be putting out a lot more of these episodes, and they'll be interesting. So until next time, this is General Future. My name is Dave. Bye.
You are a divine being. You matter. You count. You come from realms of unimaginable power and light, and you will return to those around. You will return to those around. You will return.
I have
to those around.
a friend who, when I've introduced this friend, I've always said this sort of thing because most of you say you are not prejudiced people. And if I say I have a friend, you say I'd like to meet them. They're your friend. And you could handle any friend I lay on you in terms of weirdness. Well, my friend Emmanuel hasn't got a body. And a lot of people say, well, I don't know about that. Well, he's my friend. It's not your problem, but I don't know whether you have imaginary playmates, but I do. I have lots of them. They enrich my life immensely. And Emmanuel has a great sense of humor. He's absolutely delightful. And I asked Emmanuel, I work with people that are dying. What should I tell them? He said, tell them it's absolutely...